This is our fifth conversation for Chapter 6, and we're going to introduce the idea of conservation. We've looked at momentum, impulse, and bouncing. We're going to define conservation of momentum, and then our next conversations will take that into collisions and having things impact each other. Conservation of momentum, you're going to hear conservation over and over again with in the physics conversations, and regardless of its momentum or energy or all the different ways we'll talk about conservation, that's just meaning that in a system, whatever we're looking at does not change. The total, the total, within the system, it can move between the different components within a system, but the overall momentum is conserved. That's what that word means. And remember, we talked about systems, and you can define your system in a bunch of different ways. It's important that you do define a system and look at the different actions that are going on within it. So in this case, the system is both our cannon and the cannonball. And remember that a force is always one object pushing or pulling another object. So a system is always going to have two objects in it that are exerting forces on each other. And when we have a system, we ignore the external forces. For example, in if we define our system as the cannon and the cannonball, then we're not taking into account gravity, because it's acting on the whole system the same way, not on the individual components differently. So when we talk about the cannonball example, there's a force on the cannonball by the cannon, but the cannonball also exerts an equal and opposite force on the cannon. The momentum is conserved within that system. This can happen on the molecular level. And a lot of times you can think about, they'll give the example of the weightlifter holding up a barbell, and the equal and opposite forces are on the muscles within the barbell. If the barbell is not moving, there's no force on it. It's in inertia. And the good example is if you are in a car, you are inside the car system. When you push on the dashboard, you are not affecting the momentum of the car relative to the world.